Here's the kismet for the refinery level. Up here we have a matinee that is controlling the conveyor belts and the rocks and hammers associated. These are the hammers, and over here are all the rocks. Along the side we have a lot of events, which are when the rocks pass under hammers, and all of these are setting object variable in the corner to break the rocks, so it knows which rock to break when. Coming over here, these are the buckets moving in the background. There's a lot connected to the same one. It's short movements, and they line up and just continue going forward. These were slanted, so it was a different movement. Up here, we have the trigger for the door the player comes up and uses, and a touch trigger on the other side that starts the bridge moving. What's interesting there, when the player comes out, a pawn is spawned and walks across, and that's who's triggering the trigger to move the bridge. Over here, the bridge falling sequence, when the player falls off or jumps off the bridge, a matinee plays, and it's actually a skeletal mesh that's falling, and we just hide the player until he lands, and then swap, hide the skeletal mesh, and bring the player back. Here's the cinematic mode that's hiding the player through all this. These are just some checkpoints, so the player doesn't have to start over again. This elevator is a sequence where the player jumps across, gets into the elevator. Again, we're hiding the player and bringing in a skeletal mesh who walks into the elevator, rides it down as it breaks, and these explosions start firing. Once he gets to the bottom, the skeletal mesh stumbles out, and once he gets up, we bring our player back and hide the skeletal mesh, and it's just a teleport. The fire bombs in the basement are controlled over here. Just lots of emitters and physics volumes to cause damage. As you can see, there's one matinee in this sequence, and that's because the player walks past a point where he should get hurt once there's fire, but we don't want him to until the fire is actually there, so we move it into place.